Good morning from the United States. We're here to talk about how to create inner compulsion. And we're listening to Earl Nightingale's Be Positive series or Be Positive YouTube video. And, there's so much richness in it, so many rich things that you can gather from it to start to open your eyes and become aware of like some of the things that you're not doing and you thought you should be getting a result. So for instance, he says, you don't get fire before you put fuel or wood in it. Like it doesn't happen that way. So if we're going to walk in the laws like they are created, right? Because that's one of the other great things he says is like, you can avoid the laws of man for a while, but you can never avoid the greater laws, the laws of the universe and how it works. So if you sat there and looked and looked and looked and said, I want fire, 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 you could say that affirmation forever. But if you don't put the fuel and you don't put the wood, you're not going to get the fire, right, Rita? So how do we create that inner compulsion so that we want to go collect the wood and add the fuel and now appreciate our fire? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, collect the wood. I think for me, sometimes when I listen to this, it's like, at least before brain training, right? Now it's brain trainers, it's different. But before brain training, it would be like, how do you do that? Like, what does it mean? Right. It's so outside my paradigm. It's just so outside my thinking and my perception that, you like be positive. That's just full of baloney. Like, what does that mean? But when you're be positive from a programmable way, yes. And your wood, look, your wood is your action. Your wood is the wood is going to be sacrificed. The wood has to be sacrificed so you can get heat. Like that's just how it's going to work. So for us, if we want heat in our life, we need to, and this is what I was afraid of. We need to be in action. We need to have action. We need to move. We need to create. Right. And so inner compulsion through brain training becomes effortless. And Tammy will tell you why. But, so the fire and the wood is a great metaphor for the resources that you need to be able to have the things you want. And I think the biggest thing for me was having a worthwhile goal. And that's what Earl says, having a worthwhile goal. Like, what do you want? What's your desired outcome? What is it that you want to create? And if you notice something in your mind, body, heart, spirit that's not aligned, that you're like, oh, that's full of baloney, Look, you're living this life. Might as well have fun with it. If you're going to have a fantasy, might as well have it be a good one. Like exactly. Right. Yeah. And so here are the steps. There's just so much to say about your goals need to be worth your while. And I know as growing up, it was worth my parents' while, my church's while. It was valuable to my boss. It was valuable to everybody else except me. So now it's time to be your authentic self. Now it's time to explore within yourself, like what's important for you in your life, and what is it that you want to create, and what is it you want to be positive about? Because the more positive, and I don't like the word positive, but that's how they used it back in the 60s or the 50s. But being positive mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually is getting you aligned, and it's going to be an easier inner compulsion to get those things that you want. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much.
Well, and inner compulsion, if you think about it, like when you're hungry, you don't have to be like, I should get up and go eat. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm hungry. Like eventually you'll be hungry enough that you don't have to force yourself to go do anything, right? When you have to go to the bathroom, you have inner compulsion. Like eventually you have to go bad enough that you're going to walk into your bathroom. And so we want to really look at, what are you actually doing? What are you having inner compulsion for right now that's not helping you reach your goal? So if your goal is to be thin and you keep having inner compulsion to eat cake and cookies, then you're not lined up, right? So you really need to become aware of that. Where aren't you lined up? You probably know, I keep doing these things, but that's not what I want. It's not giving me the result. So first, just being really super aware of that is important. If you're not collecting the wood, then it's gonna be hard to have that fire. So
yeah, that's great. And what reminds me of, you're having your desired outcome, and who are you? Who are you in that desired outcome? Who do you get to be? If you had that success, if you had that feeling of who you are being, then you know what you're shooting for. And then I was going to say, what burns out fire? Water. And what if you have negative tears, negative emotions and feelings, that's going to put that out. That's going to put it out. So make sure that your emotions are aligned with who you want to be when you get that desired outcome. So number 2 is who are you in that desired outcome? Who are you?
And who are you means stepping into that person, right? Because it's easy to just be like, oh yeah, I want to be this, or I wish I could be that, or why can't I be, but to actually, like, if that's what you want in your future, what would it feel like to be inside your body at that moment when you achieved your goal, when you've accomplished it, when it's complete, when it's on fire? What is it like to be you then? And then all you have to do is practice that sensation. So if you're like, I don't know how, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know how to be positive in this situation. I don't know how, because my brain wasn't focused on finding solutions and it was focused on poor me, and I need to get attention for like, I didn't know that's what I wanted, but I need to get attention. I need somebody else to fix this for me. I need help.
Right. And this is where step 3 comes in.
Mm-hmm.
This is the brain training part. So we know about the good, bad collapse. And we also know about primary imprints. So something happens. So let's say you're going for your goal, but you're like afraid because you want someone to do it for you. So, okay, Tammy, so this feeling of having someone do it for you, how do you know you have that feeling? And then Tammy can go back and be like, oh, because my mom, I have a story or memory that my mom, she's the one that helped me do it. So then we would find that feeling and we would go rewrite that memory so that you did it on your own and you were feeling good and you were feeling that desire all by yourself. Empowered. So we brain train around that, because that is what's memories are what gives the brain information to tell the body to take action.
Exactly. The memories are the key, guys. I have studied this for 20 years, and finding out that my memories are actually what's running that program for me to keep not picking up the wood and not being motivated for the wood, that is the most powerful part of this. And when you know that that's what your brain is running to, it's running back to those memories, then all you need is a technique to update them. That's it.
Right into the soggy wood.
Yeah. Quit picking up the soggy, quit picking up the little sawdust, quit working so hard to just start a fire and find out what those resources are. It was interesting when you said that. I was like, oh my goodness, because when you're little, you do need your parents. And sometimes your parents are like, that's not done right. You got to do it this way. So all of these memories meant something.
And then we see when our parents tell us that, how we respond to whatever, how they respond to our emotions will dictate how we create our identity. So if you needed help and your parents are like, stop being a weakling, you can do it. Well, then somehow in you, that program is part of your identity. And so we need to change that. We need to flip that. So, and that's the step number 4 is that we help you close the gap. You can close the gap by doing the stop technique, which is down below. You can subscribe for it. We email you that, and then you could, there's a video. there as well. So you can flip and switch that. So what's the opposite of weak? You know, capable, strong, empowered, you know. And so then you give, you know, it's all in your mind. We're not, you know, physically going there, but mentally, the brain uses that as a resource, right? So you want to have good resources.
So you want the little you to be empowered. So rather than thinking, I can't, or I'm not, you know, mom did it right and I don't do it right, or all these things that we create about our little self-image, our little self in her image show up. They show up in our life, right? So the stop technique is powerful for helping you do that, but we can also find some of those resources and help you transform it faster. Just because, you know, Rita and I both know that when you work with somebody else, they can see it and they can help transform it and do it a lot faster for you. Yeah.
And then what happens on step number 5 is your inner compulsion is there. It's change, it's flip. You write a goal down. I want this. It's not going to be a whole story of like, I'm not good enough. I'm not capable. I can't do it. It won't be that. It would be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I can do it. Your brain, if your brain can see it, if you're in there creating the neural pathways and the road to that and how it feels, and you practice that alignment, the inner compulsion comes effortlessly.
Right.
So,
and we know that life is going to happen.
Yes.
We know that on the way to your goal, you're going to have stuff get in the way. But when you're not lined up, that stuff that gets in the way is going to put you out. It's going to put your fire out. But if you have the inner compulsion and you know how to get that stuff out of the way, then all it is, oh, we need another solution. We need another solution. We need another solution. But you keep moving towards that worthwhile goal instead of giving up on it.
Exactly. It's keep, and this is the biggest thing on this video that we're all watching is that that's why you keep replaying it, because your brain's going to learn something different. It's going to pick up something new. And if you notice anything, any upset or anything that's not aligned, you go back to step number 4 and you start closing the gap. You start closing the gap. You start doing the stop technique. And you keep doing that over and over. And not only that, I was going to say is some of us have a lot of wood, but we don't use it. We don't use that resource at all, or to the right area. And some of us, what do? We burn, and we burn. And so there's no resources, right? Because we're burning ourselves to smithereens, because we're all in our head. Most of the time we're all in our head. So get out of your head, write your goal down, move into action, change those memories, flip them, rewrite them, and feel good. Right.
And then your brain automatically moves you into that positivity, into the solution oriented. And then like, wow, life feels good. And you know what? If life is happy, then you do everything better. So that's another good reason to do and be positive. Just don't do it fake, right? Go back and find those things that are stopping you from feeling that, and let yourself do it naturally.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think you can do it. I know you can do it. It takes a little bit at a time, but it's something. It is something that you're working on. It's something that you are now being aware of, and you are taking responsibility for who you are and what you're thinking in your mind with your own stories. The past is over. It's not happening anymore. And now it's time for you to take care of you. Guys, we need to take care of ourselves, because you know, we cannot not have stuff. We're in it. We're in here. We're living life. So now just create it how you want it.
Yes, right? Create it how you want it. Great. Well, be sure to download the stop technique to help you out. Like, share, and subscribe, and click the notification button so you know when we go live next time. We'd love to hear your questions and your findings with this conversation that we're having with you.